Hi, my name is Michelle Vamos, and today I'm going to walk you through some crafts that you can do at home with things you already have around the house. We're going to do a galaxy jar. We're going to do some salt dough. We're going to make some pom-poms. We are going to also make a tissue paper garland and a votive candle holder. So the first project we're going to do today is the galaxy jars. So what you need for this program is a jar. Obviously you don't want it to be too big because we are going to be putting cotton into the jar, and the cotton soaks up the water, and if it's a big jar it will take you forever to do. So you can do any size you want, but I would say, you know, the smaller the better, obviously not too small. So we have a jar, then you need some cotton. I had cotton rounds at my house, so I use these, but you could use cotton balls. Paper towels just in case you spill any water. Some water, some paint. I'm using acrylic paint, and then whatever colors you want for your galaxy jar. So I picked purple, pink, green, and black. Then if you want some glitter, and then some cups. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your jar, move these over so you can see, and you're going to tear up your cotton swabs. You're gonna want a good amount of cotton because, like I said, it soaks up the water and it shrinks. So you're going to take the cotton, and I already started, and you're just gonna literally tear the cotton apart into pieces. And you can just start with a bunch, and then if you need more, you can always do it. Just gonna tear up your cotton. Just finish this. And then you're going to layer it in to the jar. With the acrylic paint, acrylic does stain, so just be careful. You can try it with different paint. I've never tried it, so I can't vouch for different kinds of paint, but like I said, just be careful with the acrylic. Okay, and then you're going to take your cotton and you're going to put one layer of it on the bottom. Okay, then you're going to take some water. You're going to pick your first color, which I'm going to do pink. You're going to put a little of the paint in the cup, and then you're going to mix it all up. I'm using a fork. You can use a popsicle stick, anything you want to mix it. And you know, while I have this ready, I'll do two other colors. So then we'll do some black, mix it up, and then maybe I'll do green. Okay. So you can pick, if you want to have your layers be really thick, if you want to have thin layers, you can totally decide. So you just want to start, like I said, some cotton. Then I'm going to do pink first. You're going to pour the pink in, or whatever color you pick to start with. Then you're going to push it down so it soaks up all of the liquid. If you don't put enough liquid, you can always put more. If you put too much liquid, you want to take some cotton swabs and put it in. You don't want it to look too soupy. So I'll show you the perfect consistency. It's pretty good. When you move it around, put one more in. When you move it around, you don't really want to see liquid going all over. So I'd say that is pretty good. Again, if you want it to be thicker, you could put more of the pink. Now I'm going to do the next color. Then you can just put cotton swabs in. I'm going to do black next. And again, push it down. And then each time you do it, like I said, if you want, this doesn't look too buttery, I'll just add maybe one more in. Push it down. Awesome. And then if you want, between the layers, you don't have to, but you can add some of the glitter. The thing with the glitter is if you put it on in the middle of the jar, you won't see it. So you kind of just want to shake it so it goes on the outside. And then we'll do our next color. So now I'll do some green. And again, when you first put the cotton in, looks like it takes up the whole thing, but once you put the liquid in, it really soaks it all up and shrinks down. Some more. And then I will do one more layer so you can just start to see what it looks like, and then I will show you the finished product. And again, with the cotton, if you don't rip it up small enough, then you can kind of see the different, like you can see the pieces of cotton more, if that makes sense. So you really want to rip it as much as you can. Give your hands a little workout. Okay, so I'll put let's finish that up, put the pink. And like I was saying with the layers, you can have like one really thick layer, one thin layer. They can all be thick, they can all be thin, totally what you want. Also color-wise, you can really pick. You don't have to do all in order. You just definitely want to do more than, I would say, 2 colors, because if not, you won't really see them. Sometimes the layers kind of thin themselves out. Right, one side you might have a lot of pink, the other side you might not have any. And I think we're pretty good. So I will show you the finished product. When you are all done with it, you want to make sure that you really tightly seal your jar because it does have liquid in it. So now we'll go on to the next craft. And here is the finished galaxy jar. Okay, so the next craft I'm going to show you is DIY pom poms. You can do a whole bunch of things with these pom poms. You can make a whole bunch and throw them in a bowl. I've seen people put them on the tops of their pens or pencils. So I'm going to show you. They're super easy to make. One thing is when you do these, usually people do them in like funky fun colors. I only had black yarn, like blackish gray yarn at home, so that's the color I'm doing. So really whatever you have at home, you can use. So you want yarn. You're going to take the yarn, you want a long piece of it, and then you're going to wrap it around your hand. You don't want it to be too tight because we're going to take it off of your hand, but you just want to wrap it around. Bear with me. And like I said, you do want it to be long. If it's too short, it won't work. Let's keep going. Another workout for your hands. Do a little more. Okay. Then, once you're almost at the end, you want to cut maybe about a 6-inch or so piece off. Okay, so I have it all wrapped around my hand. Then you're going to want to shimmy it off. You want to keep it all together. You're going to take your little piece that you cut off from the end and you're going to tie it in the middle, okay? So that, I'll show you, I'm going to double knot it just to make sure. Right, so that it was around your hand, I basically put it down the middle. And then I'm going to cut this excess off for now, leaving a little bit. And then you want to take your scissor and you're going to cut all of these loops in half. So you want to just start at one side and work your way down the loops. I only do like 2 or so at a time so that the scissor doesn't get stuck. I'm just going to cut all the loops. Going. Okay, we have one end, and then you're going to cut the other end. Until you have them all cut. Then you want to start fanning them out. And then you might realize that you forgot some, which is totally fine. Just take the scissor and go through again. It's hard when it's all one color because it all kind of blends in. Oops. And then once they're all cut, then you're going to go around and you're just going to kind of prune it a little bit. So I'm going to pull all of them out. And then you want to go and just there's some that maybe are longer than others. Just kind of cut them a little shorter. And there you go, you have your pom-pom. So again, if you want them to be smaller, you just wouldn't put as much of the yarn around your hand. If you want them to be bigger, you do more yarn. Pretty cool, right? Here's the finished pom-poms. Again, a brighter color would make them a little more festive and exciting. Okay, so now for the next project, we are going to do some stained glass votive candle holders. Usually my programs, we make large ones. Usually we don't have this size at home, so today I'm going to be using a jar. You can use any size jar, really anything made out of glass you can use. But today we're going to be using this jar. You need some Mod Podge, some tissue paper. I already cut these up in squares, but you can have full sheets. And then if you want to outline, some glitter glue. So this is a super easy project. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some of the Mod Podge, and a brush, and you're going to put a thin layer of the Mod Podge on the jar. So Mod Podge comes out white, but it dries clear. And then you're just going to put your tissue paper onto the Mod Podge. You can do it any colors you want. You can do it in a pattern, you can do it not in a pattern. This one has a ombre effect, right? So it was the blue, the green, the pink, and the purple. Or for this one, I took full sheets of the tissue paper and I just cut it into different shapes and put it on here. If you want, you could even cut these into hearts, circles, stars, whatever you want. And then the Mod Podge does dry pretty fast. So I would say do one section at a time. I'll just do it to the top just to show you. And less is more with this stuff. Okay. And so once you have them stuck on, then you're going to take the Mod Podge and you're going to put a layer on top of it. What Mod Podge is it basically is watered down glue. So the bottom layer holds the tissue paper on, and then the top layer kind of seals it. And again, if you do see some white when you put it on, that's okay because it will dry clear. Okay, so then you can keep going. I guess I'll do one more. I guess I'm going with pink and blue for this one. So again, show you up close. I'm going to take some Mod Podge. Just do about an inch or so. Then take your tissue paper, place it right on top, push it down. And then I like to make sure that all parts are covered, so I go over and do one layer, and then I can go back and do another one. One thing is when you do put the top coat on the Mod Podge, you want to go outwards, right? So if I was to go like this is going to crinkle all the pieces in. So you want to seal them down. So I usually go from the middle of the paper out, so middle out. And sometimes, obviously, where they come together, you might just have to go both ways to really hold it down. If you do put too much Mod Podge, it will start to make the paper get wet and start for it to rip. So you just, again, don't want to put too much. Do this, leave it dry for a few hours, and again, then you have these awesome creations, and I will show you what they look like with a candle in them. I use the battery operated candle. Here's the finished product of the votive candle holders. Okay, so the next project we're going to do is the tissue paper garland. I love how this looks. It's super easy, and it's great for if you want to put it up in your room, if you have you know, a party, a birthday party, it's awesome for that. So again, you need tissue paper. This time you want definitely the full tissue paper. So you're going to take one of the sheets and you're going to cut it down the middle. And the cuts don't have to be perfect. Okay, we'll put the rest aside. So now you have one piece of tissue paper. Then you're going to fold it. So first we did the long way. Now we're going to do it the short way. And where the paper meets up here, we're not going to cut, but we're going to cut lines almost about maybe like an inch from the top all the way down. So I'm just going to cut up, and you want to make sure you go through both pieces of paper. We'll put this down just so it's a little easier. The pieces that you're cutting can be as thin or as thick as you want. I'm just doing them a little thicker just so you're not sitting watching me cut forever. Okay, almost there. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You want them to all about end at the same place up here, but you won't see if they're a little off. One more. Okay, now that I have them all cut, right, but they're together up here, you're going to open it up. And then you're going to start to fold. So you're going to take the top, all the pieces to kind of be out to the side, and you're going to roll it up. So you're just going to go, you just kind of want to fan out the pieces as you go. And again, I'll give you a close-up later if needed. Just kind of fan them out. And then once you have it like this, you're going to make a little loop. Because it's going to be a garland, you're going to want some kind of string. I had twine. Then you can glue them. I think what works best is a staple. Again, you want to have a little loop at the top. And staple it on. And then I'll show you what the garland looks like. You're just going to keep doing this. So again, take your piece of paper. You took one piece of paper, cut it in half. Then fold that in half. Cut up, leaving an inch at the top where the paper is folded. Then you're going to open up the paper, and then you're going to roll it, and then you'll staple it on the top. And then I will show you what the garland looks like when it's all done. Here's the finished product of the tassel garland. Again, instead of using staples, you can use glue, and also usually you do a lot more. I just made a short one just so you can see what it would look like. Okay, so the last craft I'm going to show you today is salt dough. So what you need for that is salt, some flour, some water. You also need a bowl. And then if you want, you can paint it afterwards. And then you'll need some way to heat the dough up. Super simple dough. I'll show you what you can make. So this is my son's hand. You can make a million things. I decided to make little ornaments to hang around the house, but you can make coasters, you can make jewelry, you can make so many things. So again, I'll show you the dough, but this is the finished product after it comes out of the oven. And then if you want to paint it, you can do that. Again, I painted with acrylic paint. Acrylic paint does stain, so just be careful. But I think it's an awesome craft using things that you definitely have at home. I'm doing it on my table because my table has glass, but definitely you're going to want to use a cutting board or a plate or something that gives you some area to work with. Besides from the ingredients, you're also going to want something to mix with. So I'm using a spoon, a bowl, and then a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you could even use the salt container. You can use a can. So there's definitely other things you could use instead. So the first step is we want 2 cups of flour. With this recipe, if you make it and you don't like the consistency, it's not like a steadfast recipe. You can add a little more water if the dough is seeming too dry, or you could add more flour if the dough is seeming a little too wet. Then, so we did 2 cups of the flour, and then we are going to do 1 cup of sea salt. Then you're going to mix it all together. And then you want about 1 cup of water, 3/4, 1 cup. You really got to see. So I'm going to fill up the cup. I'm just going to put maybe about half of it to start. Mix it up. And then for this, to make the dough harden, you are going to want to use an oven. I use a toaster oven just because you don't really need a whole oven to do this. You want it to be at 200 for about 30 minutes. One really important thing when you make this dough is you want whatever you're making. So I'll show you, I made some ornaments that I want to hang out in my house. You can make coasters, you can make picture frames, you can make jewelry. There's so many things you can make. Really anything you would make with normal dough, you can use a salt dough instead. Get a good consistency. Oops. But you want to make sure that's not too thick. If it's too thick, it won't cook properly. So you really want it to be about like ½ an inch thick. After you mix all your dough, you're going to put some flour on your surface, which is most likely a cutting board. Again, I'm just doing it right on my table since I have the glass. I want to give it a few. Let's see. And again, if it's too doughy, if it's really sticking to your fingers, you want to add more flour. If it's too dry, you want to add more water. Okay, so again, 2 cups of the flour, give or take, 1 cup of salt, and then about 3/4 to 1 cup of water. So this is feeling pretty good. I might just add a little more of the flour just to coat it. Okay, and then you want to, again, have flour on your surface. If not, it will just get too sticky. And you want to roll it out. If you have cookie cutters, you can totally use those. I don't have cookie cutters, so I just used the top of a jar, or you can even just make shapes with your own hands. Again, you just want to make sure that it's not too thick because it will not dry in the oven. And it's 20 minutes in the oven. I'm sorry, 30 minutes in the oven at 200. I'm just gonna roll it out. And then I just use my cookie cutter to make the shapes. Some of the things that I did, which I will show you the finished product, and I made some with my dog's footprint. If you do this, I don't know if you can see it because I didn't paint it yet, but you want to make sure you wipe off the dog's paws. You don't want to eat this, and you want to make sure that no animals eat it. It is salt dough, so it has a lot of sodium, a lot of salt in it. So if you do your a paw print, you just want to make sure you clean off their paw after. Again, there's that. I did my son's handprint. And then I also took a stamp. So you literally are just going to take your piece and you can just stick the stamp right in. And then it has print. Let me do it one more time so you can see it harder. And then once it dries, I again didn't paint this one, but you have the stamped print. So you could even take, if you have stamps with letters on them, you can write something out. And then I'll show you two of my, actually one of my finished products. So what I did is I took acrylic paint. So I, rolled it all out. I just used this. I made a heart with my hands. And then I let it bake in the oven. I let it cool. I actually gave like 24 hours just to make sure it was totally dried and cooled. And then I painted it with acrylic paint. And then I put a little bit of twine. To make the holes, I just took my piece of dough and I just put my straw through. To make two little holes to hang it. And then again, when it was all dry, again, I just had twine. So I put that in there. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you learned some fun things that you can make at home with things you have around the house. It's always a pleasure. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or email us. And then I hope you have fun crafting. Thanks so
Here's a finished product of the salt dough. Again, my dog's paws, the heart I made, and then my son's hand.